All right, let's go. Let's get it in. Wake up, lace up. Everybody get out there. Wake yourself up. Get up, get up, get up. It's morning time. It is the morning run. We're going to run down our sports topics and everything else. So get your coffee ready. Get your weights ready. Get your breakfast ready, whatever it is. It's morning time with Big Dog Chico, Uncle Neely, and Dukes. The Scoop. We up in here live and direct talking about sports news. And the main thing that's in the news right now is your guy down in Miami, Jimmy Butler, has been suspended once again.
Dog had no idea on this beautiful Wednesday morning we were going to be talking about life in Miami. But I did happen to wear my red and black Goonsville and my Club 11 Miami hat. And here we are talking about Jay Butler in Miami. I ain't going to get my hat done like he is. But look here, man. Jimmy Butler clearly don't want to play that no more. He walked into practice the other day. They informed me he would not be starting. And he did like that Grandpa Simpson gift. He went in that door and just went right back out. Said, I holla. A lot of people are in positions, man, where we have to conform and comply at work. And a lot of these situations with sports contracts, the athlete has the leverage. Now, whether we can identify with, appreciate, or even respect that leverage and how they're going about it, that's one thing in and of it to itself. But the other thing is, they can just suspend him and get ready to trade him. The trade deadline is fastly approaching. He clearly doesn't want to be there. They clearly don't want him there. I think it's just a matter of discussing what can we get for Jimmy Butler if you're Patrick Riley, and Jimmy Butler trying to influence as much as he can where he wants to go, whether that's a Phoenix, a Golden State, who knows. But I think he's probably going to end up out of the East, not being in the East anymore. But he clearly won't be in Miami much longer, because how many times can you just not go to work and keep getting suspended? It's almost like Craig on Friday. How do you get fired on your day off?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think he's forcing his way out. We've seen him do it before. He's not comfortable. He doesn't want to play there. When you look at what Jimmy Butler brings, the supreme competitor that he is, the elite basketball player that he is, he wants to get more out of his career. He wants to be a champion. He wants to get paid again. There are a lot of things that he wants, and when Jimmy doesn't feel like he can get them, then Jimmy's going to be Jimmy. I don't think he's right or wrong. I just think it is what it is, right? It's hard for me to feel bad for somebody who's made the type of money that he's made for not wanting to go to work. It ain't a whole lot of jobs that I wouldn't do for that type of bread. But when you are in the position to call your own shots, I think you got to do it. So I don't feel no kind of way about it, to be honest. But I do think that if there's anybody who's positioned themselves to get Jimmy Butler, it would be the Suns. You saw they made the trade. They're not happy with Bradley Beal. I think that's someone who can I think Brad Beal can actually help the Heat. I think he's somebody who has a chip on his shoulder, who wants to prove that he still has it, who's still young enough to do it. And it ain't like he's not scoring. Like Bradley Beal is scoring. He just isn't meshing well with the Suns. And I don't think that was always a clunky fit. And so I think with the shooting that the Heat have, when you think about a Tyler Hero, you think about Duncan Robinson, the guys that they have on that team who can absolutely fill it up. It works for Bradley Beal for him to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to go get my shot. And when I can't get it, I'll dish it. And I know I got knocked down guys. And that's where I think his game is now. So I think that the Jimmy Butler to the Suns works for everyone, not just Jimmy Butler. And I think that what they were able to do with the draft picks only helps them, where they traded their 2031 draft pick for lower projected draft picks in the first round. But it's enough of a cachet that Miami has to consider it. So, yeah, I think that right now, I would love to see Jimmy Butler go to Golden State, because I just want Steph to get one more shot at it. But I think I do think that his top destination right now would be the Phoenix Suns.
You think some teams are going to take that chance on him after he's been suspended for the third time this month? And like I said earlier, this time is a minimum 5 game, which is going to be basically indefinite through the trade deadline on February the 6th. So if I'm the Golden State Warriors or any other team out there looking to make a championship run, do I look at this as like a red flag? Is he going to come mess up the team chemistry, or, do I have to take this chance because I'm damn near desperate?
I don't think it's a chance, and I don't think it has to even be desperation. Jimmy Butler can flat out still play basketball. Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets, playoff Jimmy, if you're a team that's already, pretty much going to make the playoffs coming after the All-Star break. Jimmy Butler brings a lot to the table, so I don't think it's a risk at all. As far as his behavior goes in this situation, to me, it's isolated. To me, it's a him versus Pat Riley thing. And because Pat Riley doesn't work for the Suns or work for the Golden State Warriors, I think that'll be a non-issue. And I think, both sides of this coin have some posturing they have to do. I'm like Dukes. I ain't got a dog in the fight. I do believe, like, from a start of the NBA to now, I fall more in line with the players leveraging the rights they've earned over the years. And so when they have the right to show their leverage this way, hey, that's what your union fought for, to be able to fight back against the ownership and demands that they make. So I don't have an issue with it. Here's what I see. I see Pat Riley with a Newport lean against a black Monte Carlo like Denzel in Training Day saying, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me, trying to act like everything going to be all right. Because on one hand, he's got to move this guy on and got to get this guy to organization, but he also has to show a face of we can win without him because he has to go. But then you got to be looking at somebody like a Bradley Beal Dukes that can really help you because they can fill it up too, because you're going to have to replace Jimmy. So you can bench him, you can suspend him, you can do all these things. None of that negates that the guy can still play ball. And Chico, to your question, I think whether you're the Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, somebody else that may pop up, he's not damaged goods. He's just behaving this way because he's trying to get out of Miami. It would be different if Jimmy Butler had issues every month, every season, his whole career, and that's just not the case. This is very well isolated fight between him and Pat Riley. I don't think it goes over to other organizations.
Bradley Beal is currently under a 5-year, $251 million contract that he signed with the Washington Wizards in 2022. That has a no trade clause, so he has to waive that and also want to go to a team. And I think he has like 2 years over $100 million left. If I'm a team, if I'm Pat Riley, do I take that? Is the production matching the numbers right there? Speaking of numbers, he wears number 3. Will he be able to? He can't wear D Wade's number in Miami. You know what I mean? But does he fit? I see Uncle Neely saying that, but Dukes, do you think he fits in Miami to allow them to make a championship run with Pat Riley?
No, I don't think he's the type of guy who can elevate them to a championship run. I think he's a guy who can help you facilitate a rebuild, or not even a rebuild, or who can bridge until you get another guy who's capable of taking the Heat that far. We know what Jimmy Butler is capable of. He's a guy who can put the team on his back, and we haven't seen Bradley Beal do that. Now, do I think that Bradley Beal is a great basketball player? Absolutely. Do I think his best days are behind him? Yes, I do. Do I think that can he make a playoff run in the East with the Heat? Yeah. But as far as NBA championship, I'm just not sure if that's what it is. And I also think the more I think about it, I think that there's going to be another for the Suns to make this happen. You're going to need another team to facilitate it. So I think if he ends up leaving Phoenix, I think that maybe Bradley Beal doesn't even go to Miami. Maybe he goes to another team, and there's another player that goes to Miami that in there who can add something to Bradley Beal to make it make sense with the picks that the Suns have. Or there's something that'll go on, because I don't think at this level in their careers, Bradley Beal and Jimmy Butler are the same player. If it was true, then the Suns would just keep Bradley Beal. But when you look at the size Jimmy Butler, the build Jimmy Butler has, as far as being able to guard the best two on the other team, Bradley Beal has a really weird stat this year, and it's like the most times having to tie his shoe in the middle of a game, like in the middle of a play, like little weird stuff, like little quirky stuff.
Yeah.
When Phoenix Suns fans are just like berating him to the point where his family is being bothered at games, and they just think he's horrible and all of this. And I'm like, bro, listen, Bradley Beal ain't sorry by no means, but it's always
definitely not.
But you always see undersized guards struggling in the playoffs. Like we haven't seen like a small guard who gets their buckets like that really go off of the playoffs. The only person we've seen do it in the past few years has been Steph Curry. Outside of that, those 6'2", 6'3" guards who really kill it. Yeah, I mean, AI made it to the championship. As good as he was, how many times did he make it to the championship round? One time. I mean, since the days of Isaiah Thomas and now Steph Curry, you haven't seen those undersized guards who the primary scorer really win meaningful basketball games.
Right.
So I think that where those two guards are a little more successful, right? When you see a guy like 6'6", like Jimmy Butler is, who can defend your best other guy. So a long way of getting to the answer that no, I don't think that Bradley Beal is the guy to elevate the Heat to the championship level of basketball. But I also don't think that if they do make this trade, maybe Bradley Beal doesn't end up in Miami. Maybe it's somebody else.
Well, I also think we got to consider this, fellas, that nothing from nothing leaves nothing. And at this point, you ain't even got Jimmy Butler on your team because he ain't producing. He's not even playing. So I don't think it's about bringing in a guy that can elevate you to a championship this year. Because if Jimmy Butler felt that that the Miami Heat were championship eligible or worthy, he wouldn't be acting the ass. He'd be a practice playing. He wants out because, as you started with Dukes, he doesn't finish his career with the ring there. He doesn't see what they have as far as the guts of the organization, that team being able to come out the East. That's why he wants out. That's why he wants to get a better extension and play somewhere else where he has a chance to get a championship. Having said that, if you got a guy like Jimmy Butler, who's clearly, the definition right now of conduct detrimental to the team, he's not producing anything for you. So anything that you can get for him at this point is an upgrade as far as this season goes. So what I would look for is a piece that not only gets me something in the door, but a piece plus something that helps me be more competitive in the East next year. Because I don't see, whether they got Jimmy or not, I don't see the Heat being in the Eastern Conference Finals this year regardless. So to me, that point of concern, Chico, has nothing to do with the argument of trying to find a place where you can get something for him and that he would happily sign to, because status quo ain't working for nobody.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I was just thinking too, Chico, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're the Heat, when you think about how many undersized guards they already have that are ball dominant, we think about like Scared Terry Rozier, who they already traded some capital for. Maybe you're just looking to replay some of that capital that you lost in trades in previous years. Because when you look at the guys, the amount of people that they have on that team, Jaime Vasquez, Scared Terry, Tyler Hero, like all those guys need the ball, like in some aspect. And so to add another ball dominant guard into that mix, where you saw Jimmy Butler is the classic 3 dribble type guy. Like he can come off the screen, take 3 dribbles and go hit the mid range shot. Well, it's going to take more dribbles than that for Bradley Beal to get his shot, especially at this age, unless you relegate him to just being a shooter. So I think there could be a glut there as far as how much of that player. So the more I think about it, the less I think that if that trade happens, that Bradley Beal actually ends up in Miami. And I think another team has to facilitate it, and you send another piece that can kind of handle what Jimmy Butler was providing for Miami before he decided he ain't going to work no more.
Black man's
going,
dream.
dog. I ain't going, dog. Y'all ain't treating me right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what other team get involved with that. We got to talk about my Lakers, though. Of course, they've been pretty much way better than last year. Right now, they're making an improvement. They've been on a 4-game winning streak. They're 26-18 record, which places them in the 5th position in the Western Conference standings. Of course, Anthony Davis and some of the other Lakers have expressed, concerns about the team. Are they championship caliber? Do we need to make an improvement? So that's what I want to ask you guys. Do the Lakers need to make an improvement after tonight being blown out by the 76ers, basically 118-104, and Tyrese Maxey 43-point night, just doing his thing out there next to Joel Embiid. Tell me, guys, do the Lakers need to make any other changes to make a deep playoff run, championship run, should I say, this year?
When you got LeBron James on your team, man, you always got a shot. And the other night, coming part of that 4-game winning streak, you saw how they were able to handle the Golden State Warriors, who are not really in the mix at this point as far as making the playoffs. They're in the 5th spot. You got to be careful when you try to add something, because that means you also have to give up something. And what are you giving up to get? Like, is it truly going to make the team better? A healthy Anthony Davis and a determined LeBron James still have what it takes to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Whether they can get out of that, who knows? But they're still very relevant and credible. I don't know, Chico, what they're missing that would get them over the hump as far as the best of the best in the West, and what they would have to give up to get it. Because even if you give up something right now to a better player on paper, the whole chemistry factor kicks in, post All-Star break when you're already sitting at 5th spot. Like I said, man, you got LeBron James, a determined LeBron James, and a healthy Anthony Davis. You really can never rule that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me update that. 26-19 now, of course, after the loss tonight.
Yeah, well, you look at where the Lakers are right now. Do they have enough? I just don't think, like, as far as to knock out the top tier teams in the West. I don't see them coming out of the West as the team is currently constructed. And two, I think that they've given up so much in the past to try to make this current iteration work. And I think if LeBron wants another championship, like, literally, he needs time to let. Like, I think you got the guy. I think you've, got Reeves, you got Dr. Connect. Like, you basically got guys that you're waiting on to become that third guy, that guy who scares you in the playoffs. And that term rotates, right? Or who that person is, that identity rotates on the Lakers. You see them make a move, they get rid of D'Angelo Russell, you bring in Dorian Finney-Smith, who's more of a role player. Like, so right now, your 40-point scorer when it comes to the Lakers, LeBron, the way he takes over a game isn't the way he took over a game in his 20s. Right now, the game has to come to him in a way where everything's flowing and he'll get his. But it's not the same LeBron as it was years and years ago. Right now, the guy to take over the game for you is an Anthony Davis. LeBron James is probably the best facilitator in the NBA, but to take over a game in the playoffs, like a Luka, like a Anthony Edwards, like a SGA, that guy's no longer LeBron James, and I think that's what they're missing. That, they've got 3 guys who are scoring damn near 20 points a game when you count Austin Reeves at 18. But is it enough? Right now, you're the 15 in the playoffs in the West. As currently constructed, I feel like they can get hot. They can get a series or 2, but I just don't think when they get to nut cutting time, they're going to be the team that comes out of the West.
I agree that, dude. I don't see them coming out of the West. I see them being competitive. I think they can even be more competitive than the 5th seed. But the Nuggets are in front of them. You got Memphis back at full strength with Ja Morant ahead of them. There's some teams that just give them matchup problems. And you put a perfect bow tie on what I was trying to say, is that I think the issue is time together, not just keep replacing players. That this Laker roster right now is a better team next year than they are if you trade for somebody right now and hit the reset button. Like, at some point, you got to have time for this stuff to marinate, like we say in West Jackson. Put that thing on simmer, let it come together in the pot, and stop messing up the damn ingredients by adding something each time. Let these guys play ball long enough together and figure it out. Because we look here, LeBron gonna play 2 or 3 more years. Like, this is not the last year, and so all you need to worry about is keep Davis healthy, keep LeBron determined with a chance through the draft and other free agent means. Not necessarily right now bringing somebody else, but I think now it's time to just let cook what you have, because it's proven it can work. You're in the mix right now. This time last year, you weren't.
Yeah.
So, hey, man,
I mean, I'll tell you what. They got a Hail Mary.
What's the Hail Mary?
Man, you can go get a Trey Young.
Trey Young, you think that'll be an answer? Trey Young?
Yeah, like
an offensive guard, another ball dominant guy who is not really going to play a lot of defense, who's going to be a liability on the defensive end. How are you going to do it? You already got Austin Reeves as a facilitator. LeBron James averaging 9 assists. As you said, he's the greatest facilitator you can have. Why bring a guy like Trey Young? What is he going to bring that the Lakers, that's going to help them deep down in the playoffs?
He can give you 50 on any night.
So you think they need another scorer?
They need a guy who
can take over.
They need a guy who can take over outside on the perimeter. A guy who says, you know what, I'm hot. There's nobody. It don't matter who's guarding me. I'm gonna get 50 again. It don't matter who you put in front of me. You need a guy who can say, okay, who do you have to scheme for outside of LeBron and Anthony Davis? You don't have to scheme for if Austin Reeves go off, then so be it. Great game, Austin. But if Trey Young goes off, there's nothing you can do. Like, literally. Now, defensively, Quinn Snyder has brought he's brought a better version of Trey out than we've seen previously. And Dyson Daniels, like, these my hometown Hawks. So Dyson Daniels, who they got in the trade for Dejounte Murray, has literally he's in the running as a 2-guard for Defensive Player of the Year. But when you think about the Lakers, every year Trey Young is a name that's floated. And I said maybe this is the year. The Hawks are looking at, they're in a mix where Trey Young is a younger he's an older young guy. But you literally have a new nucleus of Jalen Johnson, who's showing that he can be a star. You had last year's #1 pick, Zachary Reese, and you got Dyson Daniels. Do you go ahead and do you bring in a guy like Dalton? Do you say, okay, maybe Dalton Connect has the type of potential where he's a little younger. You bring him over, add him to the mix. You bring and you take the picks that you do have that the Lakers are able to say, you know what, we'll rebuild the cachet that we lost from the 3 first-round picks in the Dejounte Murray trade. And, we let Trey Young get an opportunity he's done so much for the city. Let's let him get an opportunity to win the championship. I think that trade actually does swing. I think it does. Even if it doesn't swing power in the West, it makes people pay attention to the Lakers on a deeper level, because now imagine, like, if LeBron can bring the ball down and say, all right, cool, Trey, do your thing. And you just say, Trey, and you send Trey to the wing, send him to the logo, because that's where he shoots it from, and say, get busy, and you don't have to worry about it because me and Anthony Davis going to go rebound. I think it could be a beautiful thing, and I like Trey Young. I hope he doesn't get traded, but to answer the question about someone who I think that's a feasible trade for the Lakers that they can make to get to that championship level, I think Trey Young is your guy.
If I'm the Lakers, I would have to take a package with that. I need Clint Capella. I need a big man. You're talking about rebounding. I need another guy that's going to bring some. I need a dirty garbage man, garbage pail carrying type guy that's going to go out there and get the rebound, junkyard dog, and that's what Clint Capella can do. Pretty much a career double guy. They don't need him in Atlanta anymore. They're going for the youth movement, as you said. If we're going to give up Dalton Connect, who LeBron loves, and he vouched for to be drafted, he'll go back down to the South. He went to school at Tennessee. I think we will have to have a guy like Clint Capella to go along with Trey Young, and I think you might have a trade right there.
You know what the problem is with Lakers fans? Both y'all Lakers fans?
We want too much.
Yeah, I'm not. Man, Lakers fans overvalue everything they got.
So what's overvalued?
Everything except for LeBron. Lakers fans, man.
Blasphemous. It's your boy Stephen A. was saying.
Everything, man. Like, hey, man, I'm already giving you Trey Young for the Hawks. Now it's like,
y'all don't want Clint Capella in that contract. Y'all might as well give up the big man in the contract and move on from him. Or you can give us the other the backup, the young guy who went to USC, who plays for Atlanta. What's his name? Okongwu. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, but I'm gonna throw you a bone on this one, Chico. You really called it right, because they just sat Okongwu. They just sat Clint Capella last week.
To play they want to go for the youth movement.
Yep. They're going to the youth movement. So, but y'all got to find somebody else to help. Cause it just can't be Dalton Connect. We'll give you Clint Capella and Trey Young. I mean, come on now.
You said the picks, and then we'll throw in a couple veterans for the contract.
36 picks, man. Man, by the time them picks can vacate, the Lakers trade all their picks every year. Every year they trade.
Trey Young is what? He 26, 27. Dalton Connect come in. He 18 years old, man. 12 years old. Still got Similac on his breath.
Dalton Connect about 24. For real.
And he can ball. He'll come in. But you know what? Y'all have the Hawks have a log jam at the forward position. They just drafted the #1 pick. You got Hunter, who came from Virginia. You have Johnson right there at the forward spot. Y'all might as well give up one of them two. Let us take one of them two, man, and build us a championship spot out there.
Let me say this to y'all, because y'all ain't gonna come to no deal with the Hawks and the Lakers with y'all negotiating. Y'all about like Rick George and Coach Prime. Like, ain't nobody blinking.
Oh damn,
he ain't going nowhere.
He said ain't nobody blinking.
I tell you what I want to hear from Duke. So Chico, when you talk about Atlanta basketball and trades, I want to know what's up with Brittney Griner coming to the Dream, baby. Like that. That's what you need to be talking about.
Brittney Griner headed to the ATL. If anybody don't know, Brittney Griner just signed a 1-year deal with the ATL Dream after 11 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury. 10-time WNBA All-Star, of course. Y'all know who she is, and she got detained over there overseas. Trump said, I went and got her. So the 6'9" center missed 22 2022 campaign, of course, when she was wrongfully detained. So let me know, what do y'all think about Brittney Griner headed to the ATL?
Duke said he representing ATL. I want to hear from him.
What you talking about, Shouty? Talk to me, Shouty. Y'all hear that a lot down in them clubs, where you go get the fried chicken and stuff and the wings. Y'all hear that a lot.
Man, listen, man. Speaking of them clubs where you go get the chicken, so you can ask Lemon Pepper Lou Williams. You got to be prepared when you come to the city of Atlanta.
Oh, no.
First of all, I think who benefits the most from this trade is going to be Magic City. Let me tell you something. Some of the best patrons of these establishments are the Atlanta Dream, for sure. So, I've been there. The WNBA represents hard in there. And so I think Brittney Griner being on the club scene in Atlanta, bro, listen, man. First of all, Brittney Griner bring them out. Don't nobody know this? And I think it's not being said enough. How'd you win? Brittney Griner in town.
Wait, is she not with her girlfriend anymore or whatever? The wife?
I don't know what.
They had a baby?
Women still love Denzel Washington.
Brittney Griner said, my baby ain't gonna call me mama. She gonna call me Pops. What you mean? Y'all got me effed up right here. Brittney Griner said that. Yeah, you gonna call me Pops. You gonna call me no damn mama.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, man. So shout out to BG, man. I don't even call it Brittney.
BG.
Shout out to B Jizzle. But yeah, Jizzle. I think what she does for the Dream is she brings a veteran presence. And I think you never had anybody, you haven't had anybody since Angel McCoughtry who you knew that can go get you a dub, right? That say, okay, cool, I'm just better than the person in front of me, and I can expose this matchup. And it's been a long time since the Dream have had that type of presence. The Dream had a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff went wrong. You look at what happened with Kennedy Carter, that she literally could have been one of those ones to take the Dream, and it just didn't go right. And as you saw, the club scene reared its ugly head once again, even in that situation. So I think as long as Brittney Griner can come to Atlanta and stay focused on basketball, she's gonna be great. But I think Atlanta just presents so many challenges with its nightlife that, let me say this: if she manages both of those, it's just gonna be good for the city, because the dream game is just like the Falcons and the Hawks game. Ain't nothing but a day party or a nightclub party. It's a big party, and I guarantee you, with Brittney Griner there, they're gonna be in the building. And so as long as she can stay focused, I think it'll be a good thing. But man, oh man, when Brittney Griner throws that party, her first party in Atlanta is up. I'm telling you. And what you want to say, she bring them out for sure.
Bring them out.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win. You remember when Shaq at the end of his career was bouncing around Cleveland, Boston, Phoenix.
Back pain.
When you look at Brittney Griner, BG, and the history of her game, this 1-year deal with Atlanta totally benefits the Atlanta Dream, the Atlanta sports market, and totally benefits her as well. Outside of New York City, which is just the marketing capital of the world, you got, of course, Los Angeles. But when you Black, it's Atlanta. The things that you can accomplish as a Black athlete in Atlanta, 1-year deal, gonna put the spotlight back on the team. The way she carries herself on and off the court just bodes well for her in Atlanta. And, you're exactly right, Dukes, about the, staying focused from the Atlanta distractions. But I actually think even if she does get distracted a little bit, wink, wink, that it's going to still elevate the brand and the exposure for her and the team. I think it's a beautiful 1-year deal, and probably going to get extended once she gets a couple of blocks in a dunk, because people are going to love it and going to want her there, because she has that ATLYN, y'all know what YN vibe. She carried herself like that. So she gonna be at the Flames. She gonna be at the City. She gonna do a thing on the court. And I think it's great, a great partnership between these two entities. But you're right, Dukes. ATL can eat an athlete up. One of the best things that ever happened for Brett Favre is when he got out of Atlanta and got to Green Bay, because he, coming from Mississippi, he needed a small market. You may have never heard of Brett Favre and all he accomplished had he stayed there in ATL. And so some people can't handle it, but I think BG built for it.
Oh man, and Brett Favre was famous in Atlanta. Famous in Buckhead, for sure. Like, even when Brett Favre was here, you can ask anybody in the 90s who knows Brett Favre used to get it in Buckhead. He'll tell you. Like, so, yeah, I mean, and it was like that back then. So Atlanta ain't nothing, like, guarantee you, right, that's a Tuesday. And like, if you want to go out and stay out till 7 o'clock in the morning, you can do that right now on a random Tuesday. Or excuse me, Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning now. Wednesday night, same thing. Like, it's in it. So just the city itself can eat people up. But I think that Brittney Griner, like you said, I think she's ready for it.
She was also in the running for possibly joining Asia Wilson out in Las Vegas with the Aces. That would have been a big time hookup too, and that would have been a city where she probably could have had some fun.
That'd have been Houston Phi Slamma Jamma. You talk about the Twin Towers, Elijah One and Ralph Sampson again. That would have been some great marketing. But I think that this Atlanta deal is going to work out better because the spotlight is just hers.
Yeah. All right. Well, talking about the spotlight, we had one of our own, should I say, Coach prime players, Jimmy Horn Jr. got a spotlight as being one of the top standout players at practice at the East-West Shrine Bowl and 2025 draft, NFL draft. 8 rising prospects from the Shrine Bowl from Matt Miller and Jordan Reed of ESPN, and they named Jimmy Horn Jr., talked about his quickness out of his routes, how he's tough to cover. Like we said last week, reminds them of Tank Dell. But can y'all talk about what y'all have seen so far from Jimmy Horn Jr. from practice? And we also got to give praise to LeJohntay Wester for getting an invite, which Jimmy Horn Jr. already had, invite to the 2025 NFL Combine. Those 2 slot receivers from Colorado this year, talk about how impactful those guys have been and the importance of going to the NFL Combine and showing what they can do at the Shrine Bowl this week.
Man, I don't have no problem on this Wednesday morning reading to everybody this past October's news reports. Shout out to ESPN for finally saying what Duke the Scoop, the pregame network, and BiggDogg Chico been saying all fall long, all 2024 long. It's 2025, and now they're just talking about what Jimmy Horn can do. We've been noted. We've been said it. We've been up on it. Jimmy Horn Jr. ain't no fluke why he got an invite to the Combine. Has been turning heads with his separation and even with his size, his catch radius and catch ability, because he can go get it and extend forward. And shout out to LeJohntay Wester, who, as you said, picked up an invite to the Combine as well. I think those 2 young brothers, from what we know and have seen all year long, are destined to get drafted and play in the NFL. And the world is just finally catching up to what we've been reporting forever and a day, that they are talented, they are capable, they are professionals on and off the field, and they're going to be a nice addition to somebody's roster. And get this, Scoop, get this, Big Dog. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them gets drafted by the same team that drafts Shedeur.
He ain't lying. That would be smart by that GM, whoever he is. Now you got some chemistry with your quarterback, with your rookie quarterback. You often see some GMs draft a big-time tight end for their young quarterback, kind of like a safety blanket, safety net for him, because you can develop that chemistry with the tight end, being that he's the closest one to the line of scrimmage. So with a slot receiver, it could be the same type deal. And that's what Jimmy Horn Jr. and LeJohntay Wester did, played in the slot a lot this past season.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to agree. And I think they want to see what the speed is. Like, when you watch it, you can see the separation. You can see the agility. You can see how fast they're moving. And it looks fast, right? So from that point, now you just want to verify the speed. And I think if these guys go run well, then you'll see them go up the draft board. Like right now, you saw, like, even in that ESPN article, they talked about Jimmy Horn having a 7th-round grade. And I think that even, that, like, there's no way Jimmy Horn goes out there and runs, but I think he's going to run. He gets drafted in the 7th round.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely, Dukes. And I think what people are missing, you and I know, as you always articulate, proof of concept. And I think people are missing this final year some game film on Jim, because he was hurt a lot and has overcome that injury and is back to 100%. And then the bowl game, which was going to be a showcasing for him, a second coming out party, if you will, that opportunity didn't emerge with the defeat against BYU. So I think that once people see what's going to happen at the Pro Day of Colorado, what happens at the NFL Combine, speed alone matched with film from Colorado, game film in Colorado, and some of those big games he had, he will be gone well before the 7th round. And LeJontay Wester will too.
Absolutely, as they should be. And the guy that was throwing in the pass, as we mentioned earlier, Shedeur Sanders, reported on by the New York Post, saying that he left an impression with the Giants during the interview process. Talk about him making an impact without even practicing, without throwing a pass, just during the interview process.
Look, man, there's 32 teams in the NFL. All those 32 teams know this young brother can play quarterback. All 32 of these teams know that he has the athletic gifts. They know that he has the football acumen, football IQ to play quarterback. What they have been blown away with, which they have seen on these internal media markets, is his personality and leadership, because now they get to see it in person. They get to see it in close proximity in their closed door meetings. We talked about this, last night on You Tell Me Live, and we could talk about it now on this Wednesday morning. A lot of these teams want to size you up. They've heard everything about you. They heard you were 6'3". Now they want to stand next to you and see if you really are 6'3". And so when you get Shedeur Sanders in a room and it's just him and 7 or 8 guys from your organization peppering him with questions, and he's sitting there with that dynamic smile and that personality, and he can answer all the off the field questions, and he can go to the board and diagram a play. As he said, he is your safest gamble and risk that you could have in this draft. He has proven he can do it. He's been in front of the camera. He's not going to embarrass the ownership of the organization. He can be a good ambassador for the community and as well a leader in the locker room. You don't have to see him throw a thing at the Shrine Bowl or even at the Combine in Indianapolis to know that he is already worthy and can be a successful NFL quarterback starting day one of year one.
He ain't lying.
Agreed, 1000%. It ain't even enough for me to put on that. Like, I think the only thing that you wanted to see was, and I think my man Teron Davenport from who covers the Titans, he said that the response that he got from him digging around, him covering the Titans, was that Shedeur was very easy to work with, very knowledgeable, and he was a pleasure to be around. Well, he didn't just get that from the Titans. He said multiple teams said that, and I think that's a win for him without even having to touch the field. So, man, shout out to Shedeur for being able to raise his draft stock without even picking up a football and taking any injury risk. And then it comes out that the Giants, the Browns, and the Titans all said, "Nah, I don't need for you to play. No, we don't want you practicing. You chill out." So I think it all worked out.
We've seen you throw 400 or attempt 477 passes this year, complete 353 for a 74 completion percentage. Unbelievable. Over 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 168 quarterback rating. I think we've seen enough, Bob.
Yeah, for sure.
And
to that point, and before we get out, I do want to say this. The NFL also is looking at, when they look at that, some people want to say, like, well, he went 1-7 against top 25 teams. Okay, cool. All right. You look at, and I'm not even sure if that stat is right. It's just something I saw somebody else say, right? Okay, cool. When the NFL team is looking, they're looking at as far as your traits and how you fit into their scheme. What have we seen you done well, and how do you fit? Perfect example, Nolan Smith, right now at the university. So this year he had 10, 11 sacks, and he has 4 sacks in the postseason alone, which is approaching a record. I know it's either a team record or it may be he's approaching a record. But 4 sacks in the postseason alone, game wrecking, difference maker. Do you know his best season at Georgia? He only had 4.5 sacks.
Right.
His best season. Undersized.
It's all about that fit. It's all about the scheme.
Undersized, 6'1", 6'2", right? 239 pounds, right? Okay, cool. How does he fit? He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. But he fit what was needed on the next level. And I think that that's so important. When I saw that stat, it made me think about every naysayer for Shedeur that's coming out of the woodworks. Like, he can't do this, he can't do that. It ain't about what y'all think. It's about how he fits to what one of these professional teams want and need, and what they've seen him do well. And I think it's only going to bode well for him going forward. And at this point, I think he's the number 1 pick.
Just simple
And
as
you
that.
know, to dovetail that, man, forget a stat about what he did against the top 25. If you are drafting damn quarterback, what did you do against the people in your division in your conference? you picking third for a reason. So
Right.
so who am you to judge?
Who is you?
Right.
Oh man. So we have plenty of things we can talk about each and every week right here on the Best Damn Sports Show you can listen to on your YouTube channel with Uncle Neely and Dukes the Scoop and Big Dog Chico. This is where you can find us at on the pregame show, on Dukes the Scoop page, on Big Dog Chico's channel. Make sure you find us on Facebook too. Hit the like, subscribe, and all the other good stuff. Share it with your friends. Any sports lovers out there, share it with them. Let them know that, hey, we got some over here, and this is what y'all need to be watching every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings right here. Dukes, you want to leave us with some? Uncle, you want to leave us with something before we get up out of here?
Man, I want to leave it. It's time to go eat some breakfast.
Some green eggs. And are you gonna have some spam?
No, I'm gonna have some cinnamon toast crunch. They need to be a sponsor.
Come on, dog. Well, if they sponsor, then it's all good. I'll eat some too. Send me a box. That's what it is. Until next time, this is the Morning Run, the best damn show you can find in the morning. All right, we're about it. Same piece in the middle. Yeah.